And so, in the case of misoprostol, way back, this is probably in the 80s, when it was useful for ulcers, the company went to the FDA, said, we'd like you to approve this for ulcers. The FDA looked at the data, said, okay, we'll approve it for ulcers. Since then, all these other uses appeared, but the company didn't ask for approval for any of those uses. In the United States, it's perfectly acceptable to use a drug in what we call the off-label, for off-label use. And most of you have used drugs off-label for one reason or another in your lives. For example, how many of you may take a baby aspirin when you go on a long flight and you're sitting in coach? Well, baby aspirin is not approved for that. It's just the data show that it's useful for that. And so the company never went and asked permission for the FDA, but the data are out there, and physicians will commonly approve, will commonly use things for which evidence exists that the benefit outweighs any risk. In other countries, that's often not the case. In other countries, the regulatory agency often has the force of law, or people perceive that it does, and they really don't want to get on the wrong side of a regulatory agency, especially when you have a drug that has some controversial indications, such as misoprostol. Why didn't the company that makes misoprostol go to the FDA and ask for approval? Because the main other indication would be for abortion, and the company did not want to get above the radar on abortion. And I'll show you some statistics in a minute as to what's happened to the drug in the United States and why the company has no interest in lifting a finger to get it approved, because it's making too much money the other way. Anyway, misoprostol has a lot of advantages that appeal to us, especially those of us working in developing countries. It's heat stable. It doesn't need refrigeration. That's a big plus for us. It's cheap. Even in the United States, it's one of the only things you can get in the hospital dollar store. In fact, it's even in my hospital, it's less than $1. And in many other countries, it's pennies, really, for misoprostol. And it's widely available. How widely available is it, Johnny? Well, this will show you pretty much where it's available in various parts of the world. And what you'll see is that in most countries where abortion is legal, then misoprostol is approved. And you can see here, I forget, oh, that's this button here. You can see in the US and Canada, in Mexico it's approved. And as many of you know, in Mexico, they recently changed their abortion laws so that in Mexico City, you can now get a legal first trimester abortion, and 70% of those are done with misoprostol. The same thing is actually true for Colombia. In other countries, for example, Chile, it's only approved for the ulcer indication. The same thing is true for most of the European and Scandinavian countries. And what you see here in the green countries, so where it's green, for example, in Brazil, Peru, here's Colombia here, in Russia, France, and Spain, it's approved for an OBGYN indication. Usually an indication relating to preparation of the cervix prior to some event, could be labor, could be insertion of an IUD, prior to or as part of a medical abortion procedure, often in combination with mifepristone, we can talk about that, or for postpartum hemorrhage, for prevention and or treatment of postpartum hemorrhage. Okay. This is just to show you what happens to a drug when, even though it's not approved for something, it's still sold for that. And this is what's happened to the use of misoprostol in the US. And what you can see is back in 82 when it was first approved, back here, so all of the sales were for the gastrointestinal indication, GI. That's GI up here. But as starting in about the 90s, it became apparent that it was going to be even more useful for OBGYN indications. And you can see in the red or the green, the OB or the GYN indications respectively, starting to increase pretty dramatically. Until the GI indications started to wane because new drugs came on the market that were actually more effective than misoprostol, and the company would rather put its money behind those drugs because they can make more money on a drug that's now patentable as opposed to a drug whose patent is expired.
Exactly.
But they haven't taken misoprostol off the market because we're using it. And now OBGYN sales in the US represent something like 95 or 98% of all misoprostol sales, even for a drug that's not approved for that purpose. And here I can just show you this little dip that you see in the OB use here. This is a little unwieldy, but even if you see this little dip right here in misoprostol use for OB, it's commonly used in obstetrics to help induce labor or provide a softer, more pliable cervix. And there was an article in Mother Jones magazine about some misuse of misoprostol and some adverse outcomes for women and their babies. And so misoprostol use fell until people again started to figure out, okay, what's a better dose, what's a better interval